and ADHD, and giving you the access and the tools and the opportunity to take some different elements that you can apply to your experience and create a different experience. And that's what this is about. So I'm joined with Dr. Mendy, and this is my regular guest. So I'm just going to let you just share a little bit more about you, Dr. Mendy, and your experience and what you've come to realize as we've gone through this process.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. So great to be here today. They say one day above ground is a good day. So we consider it a great day today. So already shift your mindset, no matter what happened before now, how the kids were screaming, how your breakfast didn't happen, put that behind you. We are diving in today. I had this huge revelation around ADD as I continued to do the research and just came to realize, oh, well, this is interesting. And I came to the bottom line that ADD is associated with the gut, and between the gut health, like understanding what good gut health looks like, and then that connection to the brain is huge with regards to how the ADD is operating. And sometimes controlling the symptoms in the gut with inflammation is a huge connection towards alleviating some of those ADD symptoms. And after I thought about it, everybody, I think you already know my husband has ADD. We did do the ADD type test. So if you haven't done it, you've got to take it. It's a wonderful tool that helps you understand exactly what type of ADD you have. And he has the classic ADD. But one thing I realized is he does have Crohn's. And so that's an issue. Again, tons of inflammation, leakage in the gut that is contributing to his symptoms of ADD. So I've just come to that revelation of, okay, so now what we really need to understand is controlling that inflammation and how foods actually impact that. So I'm super excited for our discussion today.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing about this is a tool.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a diagnosis, and this is not a stigma.
Yeah.
It's not a verdict. It's not a sentencing. It is an opportunity
Yeah.
to take this information and apply it. And the idea behind this is that we want to give you so much information that you can take little bits and elements. And one of the great ways to do that is take this test. It's a free test. And, the worst thing that can happen is you may get some great information being sent to you in an email from the Amen clinics. That's the worst thing that can happen. You can unsubscribe if you want, but here's the deal. If you have the choice between Farm A, and I'm going to spell it FARM
Farm.
A, okay, get a letter A, or Pharma PHARMA. Now, which would you choose?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the best way to go is Farm A with an F, not the PH. They sound the same, but they're not the same. And what we want to help you do is take this control back to your life, create the outcome that you're desiring, and you have the free access right now to do that through these podcasts. So I just want to encourage people that you are not locked into your genes. You're not locked into your past. You're not locked into your history. You're not locked into a diagnosis from anybody in a white coat. You're not. Okay. You have the capacity to take the control and say, what can I add today? What can I subtract? And I want to encourage people because, I'll work with people that are in pain and they haven't been in a workout room for years.
Yeah.
And they think that it's over. And I'm going, no, it's not over. Let's just take 5 steps. Okay. So you want to walk 5 miles? Let's just take 5 steps.
Yeah.
And let's take 10 steps and
Yeah.
let's graduate and celebrate. Celebration is the big key. So, as we integrate the different practices, as we understand what ADD really is and how it's fed. So, if
Yeah.
you are feeding a monster, and I'm not talking about anybody's children, okay?
Yeah.
Don't misconstrue that. If you're feeding a monster, the monster's going to grow.
Yeah.
If you're not feeding it, then it's not going to grow. So it's the way that we think, the way that we perceive things. You know, I think, did I, or maybe I didn't mention that there is a free app that you can download to your phone, and it's called Yucca.
Yes, you did mention that.
Okay, so that is a simple tool. Now, what do I do with this tool? So I have a garage full of tools, and certain tools are used for certain things.
Yeah.
Now, this app doesn't cost me anything, and it doesn't take any extra energy, really any extra energy in the long run. As I go through the store and I take and I scan the barcode, and it tells me on a grade scale from
Yeah.
0 to 100. Now, this is a simple way
Yeah.
because it'll tell you if there's a warning, if it's in red or if it's in green or if it's in yellow. And if it says, 30 out of 100 and it has a few red things, take a quick look and see what that's doing,
Yeah.
and then do a little research on what that product is. Now, I think I shared also, one of the big things that Breyer's ice cream is doing. There is a product in there, is the same thing as wood pulp. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's no longer ice cream. And it says 100% cream, 100% milk, but there's that much in there. So there's 100% of that much in there, but
Yeah.
you got an ocean of toxin. Okay. So a raindrop in the ocean really isn't going to make a difference, but that's what they're going to advertise. Fresh water.
Yeah. I know.
Okay. So, there's another thing. We could talk about water, the consistency of water and what you're drinking it out of, and what are the chemicals that are in it. And,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sand. Yeah.
I got a good story on that one. So my husband and I, we had this great idea. We were going to retire in Wilmington, North Carolina. And when we got there, I had taken a job there. And like after my first week at work, a lady comes up to me and she said, "Do you know what Gen X is?" And I was like, I may have a child who's like Gen X, I don't know, whatever. She's like, "No, it's in the water." So my husband and I learned this huge story about how PFOAs are in our drinking water. No one could drink the water. They were like, "Don't boil in the water, don't give your pets the water, like just you've got to eliminate the whole." So for years, my husband and I were boiling with bottled water. We're having to do everything, feeding our pets with bottled water. Finally, I was like, this is a little much. But what we came to realize is as we started researching, like there's a lot of places in America that don't have proper drinking water, and how important that is to our systems. And then me personally, I do the alkaline water. I know this is not where we're going, but the alkaline water, actually, I would have to say reduce some of the inflammation in my system. I can tell a huge difference with, and I know the big thing now is nitrogen water, but you're right. Just the water we drink has a huge impact on our bodies. I can speak to that personally.
Yeah. Did you mean hydrogen water?
Hydrogen water. Sorry. Yeah.
Hydrogen. Yeah. I hadn't heard of nitrogen water, but
Nitrogen water.
yeah, I'm not sure what that would do for you, but
Have you done hydrogen water yet?
yes, I have. I've been doing hydrogen water for about a year now.
Yeah. How's the
And
impact on your body? Yeah.
well, I do multiple things with my water. So
Okay.
and we can do a topic, we can do a conversation on that. But I have this, It's called an analema stick. And what it does is it changes the molecular design of the water. It
Yeah.
makes it coherent.
Yeah.
And when, our body is receiving something that's coherent, and what we're talking about today is food, if it's coherent to our body, if it's actually operating to put us into a neutral, natural state,
Yeah.
then we're going to get a great benefit. So we can talk about that another episode. But today I want to focus on this idea about what it is that we put in our pie hole that creates the experience that we have that we don't give it credit for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as we're eating, and let me just go and say this, okay? Give yourself a couple days a month. Give yourself 5 or 6 days a month. And where you say, you know what, I'm going to eat some ice cream. I'm going to go and have chocolate with the family. I'm going to celebrate when, we got Memorial Day coming up. And you're going to be around foods that aren't going to be the most beneficial for you.
Right.
Give yourself a pass once in a while. Now, everything in moderation, that's another lie. Okay?
Yeah.
But it's a habit. It's a habit that we get the opportunity to challenge and to change.
Yeah.
The idea is I would rather spend an extra little bit of time now making my life have value than wait till I'm, I am 60. Instead of waiting till I'm 60 and saying, gosh, I wish I would not have eaten all that pie or all that ice cream or all that junk.
Yeah.
And I can say that because I ate that way. I drank Gatorade, 2 gallons of Gatorade a day. I'd eat a bunch of candy bars a day, even as an adult, because that's what I ate, right? It was my energy.
Yeah.
But once you realized what's in the food, what's in the products, then I had a choice. And even now, I'm making new choices.
Yeah.
And understanding that, ADD, one of the things that increases this is sugar, high glycemic foods, pasta, potatoes. I mean, this is the stuff that we grew up on.
That's right. Exactly. Yep. I wasn't trained to eat well growing up. My parents, my mom loved to cook and she loved to cook desserts. And so dessert was the highlight of our meal usually. And the meal, even now, so my mom is 83, going to be 84 here shortly. And she still does not like fruits, does not like vegetables. I'm like, I have no idea how I even eat fruits or vegetables because my mother just didn't like it. They were consumed with the meats, potatoes, and breads. So I was raised that way, and a huge dessert on top of that. So I was raised that way. And so I've had to do a whole mind shift. And again, like you said, Stan, it is a daily decision, a daily choice that I make to try to fuel my body better.
Yeah. When I was, I want to say I was in the 7th grade. I can remember I was in the 7th grade because my neighbor, Shirley, she would make homemade jam.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, anybody who's ever made jam, okay. I made in 2020, I made these little half pint jars of jalapeno jam, and I made 12 of them, right? The recipe calls for 6 cups of white processed contaminated sugar.
I know.
And as I became educated and affiliated with brain health, I began to go, my gosh, that's a half a cup per half pint. That's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, I got to tell you a story the other day. So I had that revelation too. So I canned this year. I did strawberry jam this year. And my mom, again, the sugar queen, says, "Are you?" And I said, "I'm doing jam this year without sugar. Like, I'm going to make this super amazing jam and I'm not going to use any sugar. I'm just going to kind of boil the fruit down and make it like." So I did. I did my own version of, I just added in I added in actually a little pineapple to the strawberries and a little blueberry to the strawberries. Sweetened it up very nicely, cooked it down and canned it. No sugar whatsoever. But my mom said, you have to make one recipe with the sugar. So I was like, okay, I'll make one recipe with the sugar. So I did, I think, I don't know, 6 or 12 jars. So I had a family taste testing test on Mother's Day. And I was like, okay, taste which jam you like. Here's one jam, here's the other. Do you know they all picked the sugar jam? They were like, okay, to my sugar-free jam, yeah, this is good. Oh, this is great. So it just shows you like how conditioned we've been to
Most
react
definitely.
to sugar. And I was like, wow, so interesting that our taste buds have been acclimated to the sugar. Now, for me, I love the sugar-free jam, but I trained myself away from that really sugary type of consistency. So very fascinating. So
Yeah, because our body gets conditioned.
yeah.
So we have a tolerance, and so it's like, this is thrill seekers. This is part of ADD. When you're a thrill seeker,
Yeah.
you're looking for something that's going to push the marker. So jumping off the board at the 1 meter level isn't any thrill anymore. So you jump off the 3 meter board. Now the 3 meter board isn't, now you're jumping out of trees into a lake. Okay. And this is the thing, is that experience with food, if you eat a little bit, this is why you can't just stop at one Dorito. There's a chemical in it that makes you crave more. When they say you can't just have one, they know that because they put a chemical on that makes you crave more. And so you're doing that. And so sugar does the same thing.
Yeah.
Our body gets this rush and
Yeah.
says, I want more. I want more. So
Yeah.
when we're understanding about ADD and also our diet on the overall experience of life, if we're bringing chemicals that give us a quick rush, so when I was in the 7th grade, my neighbor would make that strawberry jam, and I remember saying, oh, and she made chocolate chip cookies too. So I'd take the strawberry jam and I'd smear it on the chocolate chip cookie. Now, I'm sharing stuff from, 50 years ago, right? 40 years. Yeah. Anyway, but the idea of it was, I thought that I could live on chocolate chip cookies, strawberry jam, and pizza.
Yeah.
And, when you think about all the carbohydrates that I was getting, all the sugars that I was getting, it's no wonder I was like the Energizer Bunny on crack.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
I just didn't stop.
Yeah.
And it was the food that I was eating, and to no fault of my mom or no fault to my neighbor, they just didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I was raised in the era where my grandmother went through the depression. My mom was a byproduct of that. And this era of processed cake mixes, processed food was coming on the scene, and it was quick
Right.
and easy. So
Right.
women were now going to work, and so they needed something quick and easy. So they grabbed the processed cake mix, they grabbed, the processed food, kind of mixed it all together and served the dinner. So the quality of what we were eating also declined, because now you've got all these chemicals mixed into your food, where is it really didn't be used to be that way. They made things from scratch, but for convenience sake, our culture shifted away from that, which led to a lot of fast food. It led to a lot of processed food, which is now given us the place in America where we are with ADD and health issues and things like that. So Yeah, and the good news is I do see a shifting as a culture. I see more people gardening. I see more people eating healthy. I see more moms packing seaweed and vegetables and microgreens into lunch boxes than I've ever seen before. So I love the trend of where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shift. It's a change of mindset. And here it is. However, our minds have been developed. It's a fight. It's a battle
Yeah.
because you're used to one path and you want another path, and it is that resistance to create an outcome that you want. And it is really about the food that we eat. So our brain is actually absorbing 35% of the calories that we bring in a day. Now if you think about that, think about, that's the operating system. This is where ADD is created or challenged.
Yeah.
And so if I'm feeding the engine an inadequate
Yeah.
fuel, or it's not a premium fuel, then I'm
Yeah.
not going to get the premium results. It's just impossible.
Yeah, so true. But let's talk about like for moms, for our viewers, what would a good breakfast be? I have to say I've struggled a lot just finding like, okay, what should I start my day with that's going to really fuel my body correctly? So let's hear from your perspective. Like what would that be for a good, healthy, uh inflammation-free breakfast? Tell us a little bit like what do you do?
Okay, so I don't eat a lot of breakfast, but when I do, I love oatmeal
Yeah.
and an organic oatmeal. And this is what I do. I buy an organic oatmeal. It's
Yeah.
GMO free.
Yeah.
Um, it is third party tested, organic, and then I throw blueberries in it, or I throw and I try to get the organic blueberries because the blueberries are on the bad list. The top 12 dirty, um, and or bananas and organic. And really, that mind shift that I had around the organic. Okay,
Yeah.
it costs this much more, and you get this much more benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, so the outcome versus the little bit of extra cost is so much worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say to my brother all the time, I say, you know what? You can pay now with that little extra organic because again, my brother was raised like I was. Like we're both having to change everything the way we think about food. And so I said, well, we can pay now at the grocery store a little bit more for that organic, or we can pay later in healthcare bills when our bodies begin to break down because of the inadequacy of the food that we're putting into it. So
Yeah.
pay now or pay later. You
Yeah.
choose again.
Yeah. So the one thing that I want to communicate is that I'm not here to tell moms what to do. I'm just saying, look at the product that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
If I'm not getting, what is it, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So it's not the kid's fault that he has or she has ADD. And I was talking to a gal the other day, and she talked about her ADD went under the wire until she was in her 40s
Wow.
because she was quiet, and she also has autism, and she now is as an advocate for autism in the workplace. She didn't realize that she had autism. It went under the radar because she was a straight A student. She excelled in
Yeah.
school, but she had a temporal lobe ADD, which gave her this suppression where she was quiet, reserved. But then she was diagnosed, and she says, for so many years, for 40 years, I thought that I was just like an outsider. I was introverted. I was under the wire, under the radar. And so now she's an advocate. And the moms and dads have an opportunity right now. If they're
Yeah.
watching this, if they're understanding, if they're researching what they've been diagnosed with, what are those foods? What are the foods to omit, or what are the foods to limit?
Yeah.
High glycemic potatoes, pasta, breads.
Dessert.
Sourdough bread is good,
Yeah.
but it's all of the other chemicals that are in the breads.
Yeah.
I lived on peanut butter jelly sandwich, and I used to dunk it in Kool-Aid. That was just a fun thing to do. My neighbor, yeah, I know, it's crazy. Peanut butter jelly dip.
I'm telling you, I know. And we drank Kool-Aid like nobody's business because we
Yeah,
didn't know it was bad for you at that time. Like,
yeah. What did Kool-Aid take? Like 2 cups of sugar for a quart. It was.
yeah, it was so much.
Yeah, it's no wonder I was strung out,
Yeah.
and maybe that's why I've been this way. It's the residual sugar from growing up. I used to say chocolate run in my veins, because I ate so much chocolate candy. But it is taking the simple step and going, what is the glycemic level like?
Yeah.
It's simple. There's simple tests out there to do it, and we can cover that another time. But you know, what is it that we're bringing in, and what are we feeding the operating system? And then upset that we're getting the hyperactivity, we're getting that stuck
Yeah.
in modes.
Yeah.
Having those foods in our diet are not doing us any benefit. So protein
Absolutely. That was just
is
where I was
critical.
yeah. I was just gonna go there next, asking for a recommendation on how much protein, because it is critical for brain health. So protein, tell us your recommendation on that.
Well, lots of vegetables.
Yeah.
Um, I'm getting if I'm eating meat, I'm getting a fed,
Yeah.
grass fed, not grain fed, grass fed beef. Okay, pastured. Um, I'm eating a lot of salmon. I eat a lot of salmon. I love fish.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful with the fish that you're eating, and where you're getting it from, where it's sourced
Yeah.
from, because a lot of lakes have mercury in them. So you want to be careful about that.
Yeah.
But things like breads and pastas and rice, those are high on the glycemic. They turn to sugar quickly. And they're going to be problematic for your body, for your experience. Think about like vegetables.
Yeah.
What can you eat? What vegetables? Berries have great properties to clean the brain.
Yeah.
Blueberries. I have blueberries in my house all the time,
Yeah.
and it's just so important to have these healthy fats. So if in my morning drink I put it's called brain octane oil.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's derived from the coconut C8. It's the highest derivative fat from the coconut, and it's actually one of the highest for your brain. I'm lubricating my brain with the proper material,
Yeah.
and so I'll pour that into my morning chai,
Mhm.
and I'm drinking almond milk.
Yeah.
These are the things that I didn't know were available,
Yeah.
that once I began to make the shift. And when you think about spending 250 for a half a gallon when it's on sale for almond milk, it's a little bit more. But when you make these adjustments, you get the outcome that you're desiring.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just as a reminder, it's small baby steps that matter. So just switching yourself with a huge, like, I'm going to do this on Monday. It's not that.
Right.
It's making that small adjustment. Like, it did take a while to switch over to this, but just take that one baby step at a time. Just decide, I'm just going to make this switch in my life for these next 3 months, and then eventually your body becomes acclimated to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So eating from the rain, excuse me, eating from the rainbow, and I don't mean Skittles.
Yeah.
Okay. So eating from the rainbow, if it's got color to it, this is going to be good for your brain. Squash, broccoli, cauliflower. Here again, spend the extra 50 cents for the head of broccoli. Spend the extra 50 cents for the head of cauliflower.
Yeah.
Okay. And cutting back on the processed foods. That's the processed meats.
Yeah.
These things, I was sharing, my neighbor worked at a bread factory.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said before he was leaving, they were changing the ingredients so that the bread could actually sit in the warehouse for 30 days before they put it on the shelf at the store. Now, if it can sit in the warehouse for 30 days,
Wow.
okay, now think about how long it's sitting on the shelf at the store, probably another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was an extend, I forget what he called it, but it was extend shelf life.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's it. I got to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. The other trend that I see for moms nowadays is I do see a moms making a lot of the sourdough bread. Again,
Mhm.
we need to go back to growing your own broccoli. I had some great broccolini come out of my garden. It is so much better than anything you can buy in the store. It tastes better. It's better for you. So putting these little plants in place at the right time of the year just to feed your body out of your garden and then make your own sourdough bread. Like
Yeah,
that's fabulous. Right there, at least you have something for your children if they do want a bread that's good for them, and then making sure you know what's in it. So,
that's it. That's the key. If you can't read what's on the label, if you
yeah,
can't pronounce it, neither can your brain.
yeah,
And they're advertising, they're telling you what they're putting into it. But they put the idea is there's a science behind changing the name. But if you look at what that meaning is and you discover what that product is, it would probably change the way that you buy. The thing of it is that, sadly, a lot of people they don't want to know. So what you don't know is going to hurt you.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
the lie that what you don't know doesn't hurt you, no. What you don't know about what you're putting into your body does hurt you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simple steps,
Yeah,
know what you're eating. And here again, I'm not against eating pasta.
right.
Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to eat it every day.
Yeah, but you're always gonna be in social situations, like
Yeah,
this happened to me the other night where, you're gonna have pasta there, and you're gonna have something there that you typically wouldn't do, but, I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I went to this place, it was a huge we were out with friends, and I felt the peer pressure to eat dessert, so I was trying to find the best dessert and just in those, but again, there's grace always there. That and my friend said to me, she's like, Mindy, it's not what you eat one time that's going to hurt your body. It's how you feed your body, fuel your body daily. Those daily things add up. So daily, if you're eating all the sweets, you're eating the pastas, the breads, daily your body's going to look different in 3 months. But as soon as you eliminate those, again, knowing you're going to be in situations where you're going to have things are going to come up and not going to feed your body there is grace for those times.
yes,
Um, but then what you live daily is what people are going to see.
exactly. That's it. And it is a habit. It's a
Yeah.
habit doesn't get formed in one day.
Yeah.
A habit gets formed over a lifetime.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
but my encouragement to our listeners is don't wait for your lifetime to expire before you decide to make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to break myself of when my kids were young, I had a Diet Coke addiction. Let me
Uh-huh.
tell you, that is a bad addiction to have, right? But I actually had to do it was I actually had to do a fast to break a 40-day fast and just break myself of that because it's not easy to break some of these addictions. But once you do, then
Right.
it's basically gone from your lifestyle
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. It's going to be, your body's going to fight you.
Yeah.
There's going to be a tug of war going on.
Yeah.
And there are going to be days that you're going to feel like you can't win.
Yeah.
And the kid is going crazy and you are at your wit's end and you just want to give them the Twinkie or the candy bar, here, just have the ice cream.
I know, right? Stop already. Just eat.
But I want to encourage people that are listening that you're not on your own. You don't have to be on your own. You can get help. This is the value of having a coach help you understand, because when you're prepared, it's just like road signs when you're going down the road. If there's construction, you like to know that there's going to be a dip in the road or going to be a rough road ahead or the bridge is out. It's nice to have those signs rather than wait till you get there and you're over the cliff and you're going, well, wait a minute. Nobody told me that the bridge was out. Well, this is what happens with our food. So as we see these warning signs and we go, okay, so, Johnny has hyperactivity. What is it that I'm feeding Johnny? What is in his lunch? And what could I start to introduce? Now, he may not like it in the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
But we learn by what we're given.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I learned by what I was given.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I took a different approach. And even as I got older, when I was younger, in my 20s, I was taking a different approach and I was making sure that I was eating a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. I wasn't going to survive on pizza. I discovered that there were other foods. Okay. And once I did, I was like, the whole world opened up. And this is what I want to encourage people with your food. Eat from the rainbow.
Yeah.
And know what it is that you're feeding your brain. Blueberries, a big one. Avocados, big one. Salmon, big one.
Yeah.
Like you said, garden fresh from the farm A.
Yeah.
Not the pharma.
Yeah. 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 And supporting our local farmers is so important. So when you see those stands, go and buy something. We have got to keep our local farmers in business. So whatever we can do to support local farmers is huge. But I also want to say, I had a child who, sometimes children can get into these ruts. I had a child who wouldn't eat anything but chicken nuggets and fries, like for the longest time. Like I was like, how am I going to get this child to eat any vegetables? Because all he ate was chicken nuggets and fries. Like we went through that period of time where he was not accepting change at all, would not eat. But now we eventually weaned away. I'm just saying, if you have a child in a rut who's like, all they want to eat is this or this, and it's not good for them, it's okay. Just work with them through time. Like it will pass. This too will pass. That was my mother's famous words. This too will pass, and help that phase pass away. And now this son, he eats all kinds of vegetables. He is a big salmon fan. So really watches his diet.
Yeah. Introducing new foods and flavoring it up. When you change the chemicals that you're bringing into your body, your taste buds are going to acclimate.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit. And it is, those are the things that our body's really needing, not requiring. Our body's requiring what we've been feeding it. Yeah. And what it's screaming for is what we really need, what the nourishment that we really need. So that's why we're constantly going back for, a third, a fourth, a fifth cupcake. Just one little cupcake. That's not much, and this is a marketing advantage because it's just one little cupcake. But when you have 5 or 6 of them, okay, I'm confessing. All right. So this is why I see it and I go, I don't want a take home bag because I know what I'll do. I know my proclivity. I know what I'm going to do. Yeah. So I'm going to change that.
Yeah.
So I hope that in this conversation, you've gathered the idea that whatever we're putting into our mouth is also creating a health in our gut. And we get more neuroproduction, more serotonin is developed in the stomach than is in the brain. So it sends, this is where the gut and the brain connection come in. So whatever I'm putting in here and it's going here, it's feeding this.
Yeah. Right.
So
Exactly.
that's a
That's
key
the
point that I really want to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good. Yeah, great show today. So I just encourage everybody, just think about, again, just become mindful of what you're putting in your body, what your children are putting in their bodies, and then just begin to think about it and see how you can shift that one small step at a time.
Yep. Yep. So thank you for joining us. Anybody that wants to send a direct message to Dr. Mendy or myself, please do so. Your input gives us an understanding of what it is that you would like to know more about, and we can go deeper into that. So I just want to encourage you. Thank you for being here, and enjoy the rest of your day, and have a healthy Memorial Day weekend celebration with your family, and make wise choices that create the wise outcome for your life.
Yeah.
Have a great day.